The American dream of homeownership has long symbolized stability, success, and financial security. Owning property can be a lasting investment and a source of pride, yet for many Americans, the hope of buying a home may feel increasingly out of reach. After a slow year in 2023, existing home sales for this year are on track to drop to their lowest level in nearly 30 years.
That's the last time that home sales volume really was near where we are right now. At that time, it was 3.85 million. Last year, it broke 4 million. This year, we expect home sales to break 4 million, but it's still lagging. And I think it's important because from that period to today, we have 70 million more people in this country. And we're still having the same level of home sales. It truly is much lower than where we should be.
That's Jessica Lautz, Vice President of Research and Deputy Chief Economist at the National Association of Realtors. She says the last time we saw sales of existing homes drop this low was 1995.
In that time period, in all honesty, I don't know that a 1995 buyer would say it, but homes were much more affordable. They were to where income is. Today, housing affordability is really the struggle. We know that home prices continue to go up. This year, interest rates have come down, but they're still in the sixes, and that's making it difficult for housing affordability. If we combine those two numbers, the qualifying income for a home buyer, even with 20% down, is over six figures. And that's just hard for so many Americans to fathom.
Lautz says that in addition to high interest rates, high home prices are also keeping buyers on the sidelines. Nationally, the median existing home price has gone up about 50% in the last 5 years. That's according to the National Association of Realtors.
Really, it's become so unaffordable for your typical American to be able to afford a home. And incomes have been growing, but they're not keeping pace at where housing costs are. And so the affordability has become so out of reach, and the lack of inventory too. And that's what's really pushing up home prices.
With higher interest rates and lower inventory driving up prices, many feel they're being pushed out of the market. Rodana Boyd is a real estate agent in southeastern Virginia. She has seen firsthand how low inventory has caused buyers, especially first-time home buyers, to struggle finding their dream home.
We end up running into either just not enough homes to look at, or once we find a home that a buyer likes, they end up in this kind of a bidding war, sometimes because the best houses, because there are not many out here on the market, they may have a number of people that's going for that one particular house. But definitely low inventory is playing a part in it.
Lautz says when it comes to lack of inventory, we may still be feeling the effects of the COVID pandemic, and before that, the Great Recession in 2008.
At that time period, builders really retracted. In fact, some builders merged, smaller builders, left the market altogether. And what we really have seen from that time period is a number of factors that have continued. So the lack of land, the availability of lots to actually build multiple units on, as opposed to one large single family home. The cost of building has gone up. So all of the material costs, skilled labor, hard to find it. Building had been underproducing since the Great Recession. And then the pandemic hit.
When the pandemic disrupted supply chains and limited workforce availability, Lautz says the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates to stimulate the economy.
They really wanted to have more spending in the economy to pull us out of the pandemic recession that we were in. And so that did stimulate home sales activity, and they were ready to spend in the economy. And so that really did drive purchasing.
Boyd remembers what 2021 and 2022 were like as a real estate agent.
Interest rates dropped so low during that time that the buyers came out in droves. And because of that, and inventory was still low, but now you have way more buyers because of the affordability, because of the low interest rates. It kind of got a little crazy.
Eventually, Lautz says the Federal Reserve had to slow down lending, a decision that we're still feeling the impacts of today. Despite economic challenges that have left many feeling discouraged, Boyd says she's seen one specific group capitalizing on the market: real estate investors.
I'm having lots of success with my investors that are going out here and they're buying up the homes. And then some buyers are a little afraid because of the interest rates, but the investors are not, because they know they're going to get equity in it. But when you are a person that's buying it to live in it, sometimes there is this educational learning curve that, hey, even if the interest rate is high, this house is going to go up. And it's harder to help the owner occupant grasp that than it is the investor. So the investor comes in and they just snatch up the properties, unfortunately.
Lautz has seen similar trends and says the type of buyer often determines what kind of success they're having in the housing market.
I think for potential buyers, for first-time home buyers, it can be really disheartening to look at the mortgage market right now, to look at the home prices, and just imagine being able to purchase a home and seeing that slip out of reach. We know that for our recent rate of first-time home buyers, that it dropped to the lowest level we've seen in our data dating back to 1981 last year. And for repeat buyers, though, they continue to gain housing equity. And so with that, the share of all cash buyers who are purchasing without a mortgage to an all-time high. So a very, very divided market.
Despite high prices and low inventory, Boyd encourages first-time home buyers to hold on to their hopes of home ownership, even if that first house you see isn't your dream house.
A major avenue of wealth in America is real estate. Owning real estate. It is a way that you build wealth. If you are willing to use your first house as a stepping stone, when we are in a market like we're in, where there's limited inventory, choose maybe what's not perfect and ideal so that you can get your foot in the game.
The economy and housing market are always subject to change, and buyers may find hope in recent predictions. The National Association of Realtors says home sales are likely to rise by 10% over the next 2 years.
Our labor market is pretty strong. We know that we have been adding jobs. The interest rates have been coming down, largely from where they are a year ago, though still higher. Home prices are not going up at the same pace. They're still coming up, and that's good news for homeowners, but they're not going up at those double-digit paces that we had seen, and that's a good thing.
To find out more about Jessica Lautz, Rodana Boyd, and all our featured guests, visit viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, check out Viewpoints Radio on X, Facebook, and Instagram. This segment was written and produced by Erica Linney. Our lead producer is Libby Foster. Our executive producer is Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.